Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to the channel. Make sure you give this video a like and a thumbs up, and also leave a comment if you want to see more topics like this. And let's get started with the video. It seems as if lately everyone's been talking about DJ Khaled and his recent album Khaled Khaled. And honestly, I listened to it myself and it wasn't the best album. But however, to play devil's advocate, DJ Khaled's not the only DJ. And you also have DJs like David Guetta and Calvin Harris. Now, it seems as if people give a lot more flack towards DJ Khaled compared to other DJs like Calvin Harris, like David Guetta. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about why DJ Khaled is hated and how is he different from other DJs within the industry. Now, one thing to mention about all of these DJs is that they actually all started as DJs. Now, it would be different because you see them as a different light as today, as more producers or people who actually organize the songs and put them together. But a lot of the DJs actually started out as DJs. And take for instance with DJ Khaled. He started as a radio host who gained traction. He started from there and then he worked his way up into actually becoming and producing his own songs. Same thing kind of goes for David Guetta and Calvin Harris. They all started as actual DJs, putting out work of remixing songs and actually doing little tweaks to songs here and there, what led them to actually becoming a full producer and creating original music that artists can use. Now for DJ Khaled, his story is a little bit different compared to the likes of David Guetta and Calvin Harris because he started in the rap community and from then he moved his way up. Compared to David Guetta and Calvin Harris, they started in EDM music, dance hall music, and music that was different overseas. Now for them, they worked their way up in the dance hall scene, and then when the time came for electronic music taking over the world back in the late 2000s and the early 2010s, that's when they started gaining more traction and become more mainstream. And how you had hits like Titanium and hits like We Found Love in a Hopeless Place. Now, since all of these DJs are become producers and they make big hits, sometimes they also use ghost producers. And this is one of the reasons why people discredit DJs such as Calvin Harris and David Guetta and DJ Khaled, because sometimes they will use other producers and other songwriters and don't even create the song creatively. And this can be a bad thing and a good thing. Most people, they don't really like this. However, to play devil's advocate, there are record labels and also people who sign a bad contract and technically they don't even own their own rights to that song, and the people who own it didn't do anything creatively as well. And then you have some cases to where you have ghost producers who don't even want to be in the limelight. Just like how you have ghost writers, there's some ghost producers who would rather you just pay them and they don't even be on the track. One of the biggest mistakes of this was with David Guetta and Sia. Everyone knows the big hit Titanium. Well, actually Afrojack was one of the people who was initially helping David on that track. But Afrojack, he wanted to keep his household, underground artist status, and he didn't want to be mainstream. So David Guetta just paid him, and that way he became a ghost producer on that song. And Afrojack learned very quick that I'm not doing that again, because for Hey Mama with Nicki Minaj, he made sure that his name was on there from then on out. Now, what does DJ Khaled really do? Now, honestly, compared to his counterparts, again, like David Guetta and Calvin Harris, DJ Khaled, I would have to say, is arguably the most disliked DJ out of them all. And there's kind of a reason behind that. And mostly it's because people don't really take him as seriously, because it seems as if he doesn't really produce and he doesn't really write the actual songs. Now, what it seems like that DJ Khaled actually does behind the scenes is He gets samples of different songs. He sits in the room with different producers, different writers, and they brainstorm different ideas. And if he hears a beat that he likes, or if he hears a sample of a song that he likes, he figures out the way to compose them and mesh the beats together. And then he has the beats, then he lays that down, and he figures out who he's going to put on the track. And so he'll call up a bunch of his friends, a bunch of what would be A-list celebrities, because you know, the more A-list celebrities you have, the more likely it is to go on the charts. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's the way for you to assure that you'll be charted and hopefully get a number one. So what he'll do is he'll contact these A-list celebrities, put them all together, and try to see, well, who can be on this song, who can be on that song, try to fit them in. And honestly, sometimes it works, but in this case for this album, it kind of didn't. Because it seems as if when he's mixing and when he's putting all of these artists together, there's something going on with the ad-libs, and I'm not sure if it's just overproduction, because that's what I was getting throughout this whole album. And I'm not gonna lie, some parts of it was pretty good, but it seems like it's just too overbearing to where it's like you're getting too much sugar and it's too sweet. Now, it seems as if every time he hops on the track and every time he goes on the song, he always has to yell, "We the best," another one, major key. It be the same thing all over again. And it seems it irks people's nerves, and I'm one of them included. But it's not just that. It seems as if every time he does that, it's almost like discrediting or taking full control over the song to the point to where you can't even enjoy the whole song. It's like he interrupts it at the most awkwardest time sometimes during the song. And especially if you listen to a whole album, you're like, oh my gosh, how many times is he going to keep saying the same thing? But it seems like for DJ Khaled, people just don't really also like his persona. Unlike David Guetta and unlike Calvin Harris, DJ Khaled is a more personality than anything. And especially within the black community, you see him a lot, especially since he's in association with Roc Nation and Jay-Z. You see him a lot more, almost as much as you would see him as a rapper. And I think that since he's aligning himself with all of these other A-list celebrities, you're like, well, what the heck does he do? All he does is just says one or two lines, you know? And then given his personality status, sometimes he'll say some things off the wall, and sometimes he'll say things that will stir up an uproar and it will create controversy, and people just don't like that at all either. And one of those examples of his controversy was what he said about Nicki Minaj and how he liked that tweet about Cardi B being the queen of rap. Now, I know he lied. But honestly, I would have to say that DJ Khaled, compared to his counterparts, isn't really as much as a producer or a DJ as the others are. And this is just my opinion. He's creating songs just to create songs. It comes to a point to where it's like you're just creating songs in order to just get a number one hit. And honestly, that's not the way to go. The way that music is shifting now is to be at most authentic as you can in order to connect to your audience. And this is why I feel like he doesn't have a strong fan base, and this is why I feel like people always constantly judge him, because it seems like he's here for the money and he's clearly not here for authenticity and to connect to the people that he's catering music to. But I'm just saying this because I did not care for this last album, and I'm gonna just be completely honest. There were some highlights, but overall it was too much production. I felt like the collaborations were a little bit odd, and it wasn't even comparable to his last album. At least with his last album, it was somewhat decent, but I don't know what was going on with this. And honestly, it's kind of tragic because I feel like this is how the wave of music is going, and it seems like that wave of music is just becoming single after single after single. And honestly, you can kind of tell that this wasn't a really clear body of work. It was just collaborations just mushed together. And that's the reason why I said musically, I don't see him there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and let me know if I was just being too harsh on DJ Khaled, because I know I know I was a little bit harsh, but it's just is what it is. This is just all my opinion, you guys. So I just want to see what you guys think about it as well. And you can just leave a comment below if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me. And how do you feel about DJ Khaled? Have you ever compared him to other DJs like Calvin Harris or like David Guetta? And also, did you guys like the album? Did you hear the album? What song did you like and what songs did you not like? So just leave me a comment below, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, bye.